Hi everyone, welcome to the visual guide for the Stigma Dreamscape. This is one of the newest level 90 dungeons made available by patch 6.0 in Final Fantasy XIV and Walker. As you begin your assault, intercept those negative feelings, don't let them take over, and resist the urge to flame your group. My name is Ms. Tech and I'll be your dungeon guide. This first section has a high number of mobs that like to throw out a lot of AoEs. Watch your feet, use those cooldowns, and be nice to your healers. The first boss is PROTO-OMEGA. Side cannons will target the entire side indicated by the arrows around the boss. Players will have to move to the opposite side to dodge the attack. After this first attack, the outer perimeter of the arena will become lethal. When the boss casts rear interceptors, players will need to move to the front of the boss to avoid getting hit. Chemical Missile will target players for AoE circle attacks, and they must spread to avoid overlap. The missiles will leave behind fire puddles that persist for some time, so move away as necessary. Next, a player will be targeted with the stack up knockback marker, meaning that anyone that is stacking up with the player to share damage will also be knocked away. If you're moving into stack, make sure to position yourself to not get knocked into the wall or use the knockback immunity. Guided Missile will spawn 2 missiles that will tether to random players before slowly moving towards them. These missiles will explode on contact, dealing high damage and applying debuffs on players hit. To handle these, affected players will need to kite the missiles around and away from others until they explode on their own. These missiles will also leave behind smaller fire puddles that will persist for some time. Mustard Bomb will target the tank for a heavy hitting Tankbuster that also applies a bleed debuff. Cooldown and heal as necessary. All of these mechanics will repeat with some overlap until the boss is down. In the next section, more trash and more AoEs to dodge. The big guys can deal some pretty spicy damage, so tanks be sure to rotate those cooldowns. The second boss is Lv90. Wheel will target the primary target for a heavy hitting Tankbuster. Cooldown and heal as necessary. Periodically, the boss will move into the center, face a random direction, and cast Automobile Assault Cannon. Line telegraphs will appear over the platform, indicating how the boss will zoom around. Players will need to move out of the way to avoid getting hit and debuffed. At the end of its run, it'll turn back towards the center and cast Wave Cannon. Players will need to be ready to immediately run behind the boss to avoid this final attack. As such, when you're dodging his zoomies, try to stay towards the side where the telegraphs end, so you can make it to safety in time. Atomic Flame will deal high group-wide damage. Healers be ready. Eventually, the boss will move to the edge and cast Automobile's Sniper Cannon through the center of the platform. Players will also be marked from 1 to 4, and if you look closely at the center telegraph, you'll notice the numbers 1 through 4 marked on it as well. When the boss shoots across the arena, each numbered section of the attack will also shoot off towards the corresponding numbered player. To avoid overlapping damage and killing each other, players will need to line up along the telegraph in line with their assigned number. All of these mechanics will repeat until the boss is down. 2 more sections of trash before the final boss, Stigma 4. AI Takeover will spawn an Omega frame in the southern part of the platform. The ad will cast Proto-Wave Cannon, and players will have to move to the opposite side of the arrow telegraphs to avoid getting hit. It will then begin to cast self-destruct and should be destroyed before it completes the cast. The next AI Takeover cast will spawn a Hybrid Dragon. Fire Breath is a massive frontal cone attack that players can move to its sides to avoid. It too will cast self-destruct after, so make sure it's destroyed before the cast goes off. The next AI Takeover cast will spawn a number of Proto-Rocket Punch ads on the east or west side of the platform. These ads will punch across the platform, and players will need to find the safe spots formed by the gap in the line of fists. Throughout the encounter, players will have to pay attention to the shape of the boss. When you see this double helix structure, be ready to move away from the boss as it will soon cast a point-blank AoE attack. When it forms into a ring, be ready to move close to the boss as it will soon cast a donut attack. Mind Hack will apply a directional face debuff on all players that lasts 10 seconds. At the end of its duration, players will lose control of their characters and be forced to move in the direction indicated by their debuff. Since this will overlap with other mechanics, players will need to be ready to turn their characters in such a way that they'll be force marched into safety when the time comes. Atomic Ray will deal high group-wide damage and apply a bleed debuff on all players. Healers be ready. When the boss casts multi-AI Takeover, players will need to be ready for multiple ad sets to spawn together. The mechanics of each are handled in the same manner, just be ready to handle 2 of them at once. Don't forget to destroy the leftover ads before their self-destruct goes off. All of these mechanics will repeat until the boss is down. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know. As always, thanks for watching. Till next time.